Imagine this. It's 20,000 years ago, and your tribe is starving. Winter is coming. Food is scarce. Every hunt is dangerous. Every day is uncertain. And every extra mouth means less food for everyone else. Then one day, a woman in your tribe becomes pregnant. Today, that might sound normal. Back then, it could be a death sentence. Pregnancy made you slower, weaker, and more vulnerable. In a world filled with predators, freezing nights, and constant movement, carrying a child wasn't just difficult, it was dangerous. And childbirth itself was one of the deadliest things a human could experience. One bad birth, one infection, one complication, and both mother and child could die. Which raises a strange question. If ancient humans understood how risky pregnancy was, how did they prevent it? The answer begins with something ancient humans were incredibly good at: observation. They watched everything because survival depended on patterns. Long before science existed, women noticed their bodies changed in cycles. There were certain days when pregnancy seemed more likely, and other times when it didn't happen as often. They didn't understand ovulation, hormones, or biology, but they understood repetition, and repetition became knowledge. Some tribes avoided sex during certain parts of the month, not because they knew the science, but because they knew the risk. Imagine that, thousands of years before medicine, humans were already trying to outsmart reproduction using nothing but memory and instinct. Because for ancient humans, sex wasn't just pleasure. It was a gamble with survival. But when patterns weren't enough, humans turned to nature, and nature became their first pharmacy. Ancient Egyptians created strange mixtures of honey, acacia, and dates, placing them inside the body to block pregnancy. It sounds primitive, but modern science found something shocking. Acacia naturally ferments into lactic acid, which can weaken sperm. Think about that. Without chemistry, without laboratories, they accidentally created one of the first chemical contraceptives. Then came something even more valuable: a mysterious plant called silphium. The Greeks used it so often to prevent pregnancy that it became one of the most expensive plants in the ancient world. Some historians believe it was so effective and so heavily used that humans drove it extinct. Imagine needing control over pregnancy so badly. You erase an entire species of plant from the earth. But ancient humans didn't stop there. They created barriers, literal ones. Early condoms existed, made from animal intestines, linen, and sometimes fish bladders. Crude, uncomfortable, probably painful. But in the ancient world, comfort didn't matter. Survival did. Because another pregnancy at the wrong time could break a family. A child could mean joy, or starvation. And ancient humans understood that deeply. They also relied on something nature had built into the body itself: breastfeeding. Women often breastfed for years, and long periods of breastfeeding naturally delayed ovulation. They didn't know hormones, but they saw the result: fewer pregnancies, more time to recover, and more resources for the children already alive. In a brutal world, even biology became part of the strategy. And then there was the simplest method of all: withdrawal. No tools, no plants, no preparation, just timing and control. It wasn't reliable, but for thousands of years it was one of the only choices people had. But here's where the story becomes darker. Not all pregnancy prevention was personal choice. In many ancient societies, sex itself was tightly controlled. Who could have it? When? How often? Sometimes decided by elders, rituals, or tribal rules. Because reproduction wasn't just personal, it shaped the future of the entire group. Too many births could mean too little food, too little strength, too much weakness. In some ways, ancient humans didn't control reproduction because they wanted freedom. They controlled it because survival forced them to. That's the part modern people often miss. We think of ancient humans as primitive, as if they were simply driven by instinct. But the truth is the opposite. They understood one of the harshest realities of life. Bringing a child into the world changes everything. A baby wasn't just a blessing. It was a massive risk. More mouths to feed, more energy to spend, more chances for death. In the ancient world, reproduction wasn't destiny. It was strategy, a decision measured against hunger, danger, and survival itself. And maybe that changes how we see them. Because even today, despite all our technology, medicine, and modern choices, the question hasn't really changed. When is the right time to bring life into the world? Ancient humans asked that same question in caves, around fires, under freezing skies. The tools have changed. The science has changed. But the human fear behind it remains the same. Because one of humanity's oldest inventions may not have been the wheel, or farming, or written language. It may have been something far more personal, the desperate attempt to choose when life begins, before survival chooses for you.